Welcome back to another video, guys. Today I just want to take some time out after a little bit of reflection, and I was kind of thinking, what are the key things that if I could tell myself if I was 20 again, or even coming into my 30s, just the key things, the key takeaways that would make life, I guess, a lot easier and a lot less stressful. And yeah, I've put these 20 or so ideas together and we'll talk about these. Forgive me for my voice. I'm a little bit crook today, a bit sick, got the flu, so still trying to push this content out for you guys. But enough of that, let's get into the video. So the first topic I want to talk about is that consistency compounds. Now, if you don't understand what this means, basically the actions and the things that you do build up and stack on top of each other. It's kind of like when you take a small snowball and you roll it down the hill. By the time it gets to the bottom of the hill, it could probably cause an avalanche. A lot of people will get this mixed up and think that it only applies to the good things, like when you hit the gym every single day, or when you take the small amount of money and you invest it every single week out of your paycheck. But I want you to understand that this consistency comes across for the bad habits that you do as well, like smoking cigarettes, or when you think that candy bar out of the vending machine at work once a day won't add up and make a difference. But whichever way you go about it, consistency will definitely shape your life, whether that be for the good or for the bad. That brings us to our next point, which is the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. And this applies to everything in life, whether you want to think about that as your health. For instance, if you're out of shape now in your mid-20s, by the time you're 30, you're going to have a beer gut and two friends. Happens to the best of us. Don't worry though, I'm fixing that, and there's still time for you as well. But this also applies to changing job fields. Like, I don't know, maybe you're in a warehouse job right now, you want to go get your CDL or your truck license. The longer you wait, the harder it's going to be for you to do these things. And same with investing. I had a conversation with a friend the other day, and someone that we know had told him that he didn't understand investing, so he thought it was a waste of time and was never going to do it. But at the end of the day, the education's out there. You can do literally anything you want. From this point, that brings me to start the YouTube channel now. Whatever it is that you're into, just start it now. I had thoughts and ideas of starting this channel for a long time, and I did, and I was inconsistent, and I got nowhere. But the last couple of weeks, we've already started to gain a small following, and I'm thankful to each and every one of those subscribers. So if you're not already subscribed, maybe go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and if you're really feeling generous, maybe click on the link down below that says buy me a coffee and drop me a couple of dollars. And thank you to the few people who have already. All right, our next point is leverage what you can from people. I know people don't like to ask for help, but at the end of the day, you need to leverage what you can. And this could be for work. Maybe you got an uncle or something. Take advantage of that nepotism or whatever it may be, and ask him, hey, can you get me a start at work? Maybe you got a brother that works somewhere and you can get a foot in the door. Or this could be learning a skill. You might know someone that's a good welder or a plumber. Just say, hey, I want to tag along for 2 weeks, do it for free, and if it works out, maybe you could put me on the books. Leverage the opportunities that are around you. This is so important. I know I'm the same. I like to think I can do it all by myself, but sometimes we still need to ask those around us for help. Next one is stay ready, and you won't have to get ready. Again, this is mainly based off health. If you stay healthy, you don't need to put in as much work to get healthy as you get older, because trust me, I've been there, and it gets harder. I'm not here to fat shame or anything like that, but I want you to understand having an extra weight on you is not good, and even look into what 10,000 steps a day can do for you, because most people don't even get 10,000 steps a day in. If you're a young bloke in your 20s, mid-20s, now is the most freedom you're probably ever going to have. I had my child young, but that's cool. It was one of the best things I ever could have done. But I see a lot of people around me are just wasting their early 20s. They got no interest in investing a skill. They're out at the club or the pub every night. They're popping bottles and carrying on. You're wasting time. Once you find a wife and have children, if that's what you want to do, you're not going to have this free time. Trust me, you get bills, you get mortgage repayments, and all these things that add up and take away from your free time. Next point is forgive not for the sake of others, but for the sake of yourself. For a long time, I was an angry man, and I harbored anger at certain people, and you got to learn to let these things go. The stress and the anger will kill you. So it's all right if you don't want to forgive them directly or forgive them for the sake of forgiving them, but you need to let go of this trauma or whatever it is inside you that's festering and eating away, because I promise you that shit will spread like cancer and it will not do you any good. It's how a lot of people end up with drinking and drug addictions. Creation instead of consuming. That's exactly what we're doing here. Even for the next 2 weeks, I want you to have a think about how much do you consume and how much does it affect your life. You know, you read all these articles, you get on social media, you do the old doom scroll and waste hours of your day. Maybe stop and have a think of something that you can create to help society. Put it out there, see what happens. Even if it affects the path of one person's life, I think you've achieved something. Savings beyond a certain point are a waste of time. I think you should invest instead. I'm not saying don't have an emergency account. Obviously, I'll do what every other guru says, not that I class myself as a guru, and say put away 3 months worth of savings, put that shit in a savings account. You might be able to get like 3 to 4% at the moment, I think. But you hit a certain point where if you keep going just into savings, it's going to become dead money. So look into the S&P 500, do your own research, but you can make 10% returns a year over the long haul. Do your own advice, your own research. But yeah, savings are a waste of time. 90% of people cannot handle credit cards. How young were you when credit cards were waved in your face? I remember seeing ads on TV when I was like 4 or 5 for MasterCard. You know, for everything else, there's MasterCard. And I was thinking, what is that? And, you know, people don't understand the cycle and the trap that credit cards can create once you're in 20%. You think, yeah, I'll pay it back, and then the end of the month comes, and then you get charged with a massive fee. And all of a sudden, you are glaring up at a mountain of debt and a big problem. So, yeah, it's my thought that 90% of people can't handle credit cards, and they shouldn't have them. Friends will change through life just like the seasons change. Like I said before you know it, you're going to be 30 and you got 2 mates. All these old blokes talk about how you'll find the amount of true friends in your life you can count on one hand. That's not to say don't give people a chance. I know there's still good people out there, but yeah, I don't have a rather large circle. It's a lot less drama when you have a few good friends. I've probably got 1 or 2 people I can rely on. And to be honest, I kind of prefer life like that. No one's going to take you seriously until you're at least 30. Man, I remember coming up and working these jobs for like $600-700 a week and just being dead ass broke and thinking, how does anyone get ahead like this? And yeah, it's probably not until you reach your late 20s or your early 30s where people start to take you seriously and you get these opportunities to take on management roles. If you do get the chance to do something that's a bit more serious early on, you're either really mature or someone's made a big mistake. But I'm gonna aim that you're pretty switched on, you're mature, and someone's gonna take that risk. So if that's the case, don't fuck it up. Work with what you have. We often see technology, it just seems to become, it's almost like a subscription now, isn't it? Every 12 months you just buy the latest iPhone or the newest Sony camera or the GoPro or whatever it is. Even microphones, man, like I've had this one now, this Rode that I'm recording on for probably, I want to say 4 or 5 years. I know there's newer microphones out, but, you know, this tech, it does the job. I don't need to spend or waste any more money on this, so I'm pretty well good. Now, my dad, he used to tell me, never lend your tools to anybody, and I can completely understand this. The one time I lent a dude my fucking brand new $200 wood chop and axe, he managed to break it out drunk camping doing stupid shit. Sure, this doesn't apply to everyone, but yeah, I'm one that rarely lends my tools. If you want a job done, you want to borrow my tools, I'll come and do the job for you and then take my tools home. Next one is kind of relationship and life-wise will be that you're going to feel heartache before you're 30. And that might be from someone that you think is going to become a significant partner or a large part of your life. Or perhaps it's going to be a close tragedy. I had a lot of mates die when I was in my early 20s from doing stupid drunk shit and just making bad decisions. But just got to prepare yourself. You might need therapy for these things. I'm sure there's always people out there you can talk to. But yeah, just be prepared, man. Tragedy is always just around the corner. And we've got to learn to handle these things, let go, and move on in life. Otherwise, just like anger, it's going to consume you. Next point is a little bit of existential dread, but I want you to know that none of us are going to get out of this alive. You know the old saying, we're here for a good time, not a long time. I'm not a fan of that, but I'm also not a fan of being here bored shitless for my whole life. So I live quite a frugal life myself, but I still enjoy the important moments. like I want to say probably 12 months ago, I took my family on our first like big holiday, man. We went to Tasmania. If you're not sure where that is, it's a little island, I guess, off Australia. It's still in Australia, but very cold place, very different from where I live. And I'd always wanted to see it. So we took 2 weeks. We dropped a heap of money and rented a camper van and travelled around the whole of Tasmania. And to be honest, like it was an expensive trip. I probably could have invested this money and made some really good returns because of how the market's gone since. But at the end of the day, I really treasured and enjoy that experience. I have photos of that. I have the most fondest memories of kicking back with my kid. And yeah, it was just a happy, great time. And I don't know if money could really replace that experience. Money's great and all, but just enjoy the important things every now and then. Some of the best things in life are free. I know that kind of contradicts exactly what I've just said, but you know, if you and your mates want to go and kick back, have a picnic, make some food, go on a hike, I don't know, go for a swim at the lake, you know, spend a day working on a car or barbecuing, like all these things are relatively cheap. And you can still have a really, really good time with your friends and your family. And you don't need to spend a lot of money to do that. Even quite often, you know, when we go to the city, I love nothing but going to the late night thrift stores and seeing what I can pick up for like $5-10. Sometimes I might even flip these to make money, but that's a conversation for another time. But yeah, it's cool. Like, you know, you find old suits and shirts and singlets and shoes and all sorts of stuff for like, you know, cents on the dollar, pennies on the dollar. And yeah, I think there's a lot of ways to, you know, have fun and do things for cheap. Comment down below, let me know. What are some of the fun, cheap things that you and your mates do in life? And my last point on this one is going to be, nothing changes if nothing changes. And I know that sounds cliche, but you literally are, life is what you make of it. You literally create your own destiny. If you want to have a job where, you know, you're coding and making $100,000 a year working for a cybersecurity company, or drive trucks and make $200,000 a year in the mine, or do the mechanic course and become a master fucking mechanic or plumber or builder, you're literally the only person that can do this. You need to put the work in, find avenues to get into these trades or get into these skills, whatever it is that you want to do, and say, hey, I think I could do that. Why not you? You know. Because if any other man has done this, I feel like you can definitely do the same thing. So just put your mind to it, have a crack, and yeah, do the thing, you know. Sit down and really have a think. And this comes back to that point of creation instead of consumerism. I think there was a saying that a man's biggest problem and most of men's problems could be solved if they could just sit in a room with themselves for 5 to 10 minutes. The amount of ideas that come to my brain that have made me money or that I've enjoyed and turned into hobbies, like, you know, I had the front door plant store nursery that I started during COVID and was selling plants that I grew from like 10-cent seeds for $10-20 during the peak of COVID, and I was making an extra $600 a month out of that. Like, all these ideas, there's so many ways and things you can create that can benefit yourself, your society, your community. Yeah, just get offline for a bit and have a think about what it is you can do, because if you don't do it now, it's just going to become harder later on in life. All right, once again, if you've gotten anything out of this, please do drop me a like to try and help my channel grow. Thank you to each and every one of you for taking your time out of your day to watch this video. And yeah, let me know down below. Maybe you've got some tips that you can help the other people that are seeing this video out with. What's your one piece of knowledge that you'd tell yourself if you were younger again? Drop that down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.